Oh, I see what I can do now. Okay. All right, but we're not going to do it tonight. But
Okay.
I have solved this problem from over here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then. So, how did you come to be part of Purple Gums?
This is a question that my answer may not be correct because my memory is foggy.
Well, that's what oral history is.
That's what it is. So many things come together, you know. Mostly, I put together my association, my Purple Gums Association, with Mr. Bradford and yourself, with Glenn Horiuchi. And what I recall is, of course, I've known of Mr. Bradford for a long time. And we had done some stuff, but I don't remember what. But Glenn always had the idea that we should have a trio of Bradford, Roper, and George Lewis. That was always his idea, that we should do that. Which, it's a good idea, but it's nothing I could do to make happen, you know, because I'm just who I am, you know, so I had my other projects, and especially George Lewis, I just didn't know well enough to do that, do something like that. So then beyond that, you had us up to the Jazz Festival, and we did a show in honor of Glenn, and that's the festival where Malachi was there, taking his capsules of cayenne pepper, you know, and I don't know if you know, I didn't know that he had cancer, and that was part of why he was doing that. So, and I think of that as the hat show, because we all wore caps, you know, of varying amounts. So, to my recollection, that's the first time the three of us were together and happening together. And what I remember of that is just that we did a good show. You played piano. We had the hats. I went to the beach with so-and-so, and we ate at the Denny's in J-Town. Was it Denny's or was it IHOP?
Yeah, it was Denny's.
Yeah, it was Denny's. You know, they have the spam breakfast, you know, the Hawaiian breakfast. There's a name for that breakfast. I don't remember it now. So that's my first, and we weren't Purple Gums then. We didn't have a name as we do now. And then you had us up again, and we were going to record. And we recorded before we did the performance. I drove, and Mr. Bradford rode with me. BB, Bobby Bradford, rode with me, and he started talking about the Purple Gums thing. Black people with purple gums. And I said, oh yes, we do have them, some of us, especially the black people who are so black, they're blue. They're so black when they're in the sun, they look blue, you know, and they have the blue gums. So that was part of the conversation on the drive up. Then we did the recording, and in the recording, since we never really know what we're going to do, and since I often talk as part of the performance, I did a thing on Purple Gums, incorporating a lot of what BB had said and my own thing. And when all was said and done, I kind of decided I think with consultation, because I remember running everything by everyone, that's a good name. That's a good name. It's just 2 words, and it's coded. It's a code. You know, there's some people who know what it's about, and there's other people who think it's about something else, and there's some people who don't know anything at all. And so much of the life of Black people and all groups who are not the majority groups in America is about codes. There have to be codes for you to get through your life in a society where you're at danger if you say out loud what you're really thinking. So I think I like that idea. Now, whether I was saying that consciously at the time or not, I don't know. But at this point in life, I'm into the coding of a term like purple gums. What is it about? And it gave me an excuse to do a painting about purple gums, which is really something, painting gums and teeth, But even before that, teeth were part of my work anyway, my visual work, because I have a lot of dental issues over time, and I kept the molds of my teeth that they would make, and I would keep my teeth. They'd pull a tooth, I tell them to give it to me. Now they can't do that. The law has changed. And I think they can give me my teeth, but I used to ask for other people's teeth. You got teeth lying around? I want the teeth. And the dentist would all say, what do you want that mess for? I said, well, I do work with it. I do work with it. One dentist, I actually took some of the work in, for them to see it. And they just thought it was, I don't know how much they were into the work, but they were into that the teeth were being used for something, and because teeth are important, and there's a patron saint of teeth, Saint Apollonia, because in her torture, she was tortured and they pulled her teeth out. You can imagine having a tooth pulled that's not actually ready to come out, and many. So anyway, so that's I think how I came to purple gums. That at least is what I remember. This is the deal, that we did our performance, and it's been discussed how that came together without me being any part of it. And but we showed up in the Bay Area, which I have mixed feelings about, but I like it now more than I have in the past, And then we came up again, to the university, and we did that recording before we performed, which is always something, recording before you perform. And we did that piece as part of the recording, and we decided purple gums is the deal, it's the deal. So yeah, that's the story.
So what's happening in a Purple Gums performance for you, and then just what your observations are?
Yeah, well, for me, what's happening is, it has changed over time. It's changed over time. I will say nowadays, like we have a performance tomorrow, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And of course, neither do you all, I assume. And it's always been that way. That is what free improv is. But nowadays, now that I've, sort of entered the winter of my life, I have a little more trepidation Right now, I have no trepidation about tomorrow. But when we arrive and we get into the classroom and I finish setting up this stuff, I'm going to start becoming aware of, I'm going to have to play now. We're going to have to play. We'll probably have to play at least for a good 45 minutes. And it's not, the anxiety is not, and it's not really anxiety, it's just a recognition that used to not be there. It's not a worry that I don't know what I'm going to play. It's a recognition that I have less to say than I had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because I've been doing free improv for a long time. So the deal is now I have less to say. So how am I going to manage to say anything? Well, I'll always have something to say, as you can tell, but it may be 5 minutes worth, Well, there's still 40 minutes to go. So that's kind of where I am now. So I have you guys to feed me material, and I trust that you will. And at a very basal level, I know I'll get through it. But the danger, the problem, the pitfall is to stay on top of it. Stay on top of it while you're digging, or while I'm digging for material. That's where I am now with Purple Gums and almost any free improv that I do. What do I care about now at this point in life with the tuba? Because, the thing with these instruments is there really are only 12 notes, Now you can play all the shit in between the notes, and there are cultures where they're devoted to, there's many more than 12 notes. But our instruments are constructed in a certain way, and there's only 12 notes, and there's only so many sounds you can get out of that instrument beyond the notes. And you can get tired of that, or, maybe tired is the wrong word. So, I can be somewhat concerned these days about what Willie Roper is going to be able to contribute to the situation. So often I talk, rather than play the tuba, because that's a legitimate form of expression. It's free improv, and it's social and political. And my part of my musical role in life, my artistic role in life, is to not shy away from the politics of the situation. And those politics are always there, whether they're national politics or artistic politics. I mean, it's saying something to play free, That's a position. That's a statement. Now, to do it with Purple Gums, the group is a statement. To play free, that's just what we do. And what can I say? I live in a world of cliches. So I'm going to apologize for the cliche in advance and all the other ones that are going to come up. But freedom isn't free, So we've paid dues to do this, to get to this point to do this. And we pay dues as we do it. Part of the price is doing homework so we can bring something other than just abstraction to the music, So we have our backgrounds, we have our different backgrounds of how we got here and the kinds of music that we do. So that's part of the dues paying and part of what we do and part of the politics. you know. It's part of the politics. So yeah, there we are.
So can I ask a question?
Of course.
William, do you think about, going back to your saying about what you're going to do each night and how you feel about it, do you think about whether you want to let these people out there into your head or you want to get into their heads? I'm not sure I'm making this clear, but in other words, do you have a space in your own head that you never intend to share with anybody? And you'll let them see part of who you are?
In terms of the performance, no, I don't have that space or that barrier.
Mm.
Once I'm on stage,
Well, that's where I was headed. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
yeah, once I'm on stage, I am there for myself and the audience. You know, I have a responsibility to the audience, and if what our purpose there is to be free, then they have free access. What I'm putting out is access into where what I'm putting out comes from.
Now, is this a kind of high?
No, I never get a kind of high playing music, actually,
I don't mean
because
just the playing now, but the whole event. See where
yeah, it's a complicated question. It's a complicated question. I really want to say no. I want to say no, but I don't know if no is really the real answer, the honest answer. You know, my nature is such that I want to say no, but you know, sometimes I'm feeling pretty good after a show. You know, sometimes I'm feeling pretty good. And I will say, almost always, with Purple Gums, there are moments in a show where I am elevated or out the door or in a space I haven't been before. Or maybe I have, but it's nice to be back. You know, it's nice to be back. And I would say that that's the thing with Purple Gums, for me, is that it's nice to be back. You know? It's, and it may not happen until sometime in the show. Because there's always a lot involved in the show, you know? You got to get there, you got to be dressed, you got to like do whatever and everything, you know. You have to lay down, you know, or throw down, I guess would be better. And the audience matters. Sometimes the audiences are hostile, you know, they're hostile. I mean, they're not openly hostile, but if you're playing in a jazz venue and you're Purple Gums, and you look at the roster of who's played there before you showed up and who's playing there after you, you're different. Purple Gums is different from most of those things. And the audience, you know, we have our audience, but in a situation like that, most of those people, they come for all that shit shit is not right, you know, it's just the vernacular. Because people get, you know, all that stuff that came before you and all that stuff. So that's kind of a hostile audience. So you have to swing them, you know. You have to swing them. Now, I don't overly concern myself with swinging a hostile audience. On the other hand, it's just some knowledge that you have, you know, and I can say this. It is quite nice when you know your audience is hostile and by the end of the night you've changed them. You've brought them to your side. And I've been in situations where you can actually feel when that happens. you know. Yeah.
How does that happen?
I think that happens, it takes sincerity on the part of the performers. It takes an acknowledgement of where the audience is in the beginning, and it takes, they have to know, you have to in some way communicate to them that you're willing to do this anyway. You're going to do it anyway. And you hope they come along. And if they don't come along, well, you did what you had to do. You did what you had to do, and there's a level at which, I hate to say this, there's a level at which you don't care. Now, the reason I hate to say that is, I'm one of those performers who, I refuse to ignore my audience. I just refuse to do it. They came there, for me, for whatever reason, and however little or how much they came there for me, so it doesn't make sense to ignore them. And some audiences like that. There's a lot of performers who do that, but so in answer to your question, the things that I said, and yeah, mostly you have to let your audience know that you're with them, even if they're not with what you do, that you're with them. And there was a time, I still do it now, but not as often, where I'd go sit in the audience before the show, as people come, if they don't know who I am, doesn't matter, I'm just a cat, and I'd go sit in the audience so I get a feel, it's not a real concrete thing, but you're just there, you're there. So, yeah. Yes.
How would you place your work in Purple Gums, or relative to other work that you're doing?
My work in Purple Gums relative to other work that I'm doing, the easy answer is that it's a place where I can do what I want. That's an easy answer. But if we go back to the beginning of what I was saying, I may not want to do much. But in Purple Gums, in a free improv situation, there's nothing else to depend on. There's nothing else. If I'm playing in a classical situation, if I'm playing in a jazz band, if I'm playing for dancers, whatever, I don't have to be emotionally involved. I don't have to be creatively involved if I don't want to be, because there's stuff there. If I just do what's on the page or what my instructions are, it may not be a page, but there are instructions that have been given out. If I just do that, then I have done my job, and I might even convince 90% of the people that I was really into it, and that I was deeply emotionally involved, But with a free improv situation like Purple Gums, there's no backdrop, no foundation like that, There's no foundation like that. I really kind of have to be there 100%, and if I'm not, then I'm not doing my job. And since there's only 3 of us, that becomes noticeable. Becomes noticeable in the group, and probably becomes noticeable in the audience. I haven't felt any animosity in this group during performances, but I have played in free improv groups where there is animosity during a performance because so-and-so is just not doing their job. They're not doing their job. They're not helping me They're not feeding me. You know, you guys have to feed me, I have to feed you. And a free improv situation is really the only situation where that I work in where it won't work any other way. You know, just won't work any other way because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So that's the deal. That's how Purple Gums fits into the rest of what I do. It's freedom isn't free. You know, it's free, but it's a lot of responsibility and prices to pay. Yes. Money for your honey. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Next.
Did we hit our time?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was 30 minutes.
Well,
Yeah, a little bit over.
It's over.